Blessings and welcome, everyone. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is your weekly tarot energy forecast. We are getting down to the funky sound this week. It is July 30th through August 6th that this reading will be of service to. I'm wondering, how are you doing with all of these eclipse energies? New energy moving in, old energy moving out. I have been so using every little nook and cranny of these eclipses as I can, as I do every year, and I don't know if you do or if you just hang out and drink tea through them. The cool thing about the eclipses is that no matter what you do, the eclipses is going to help do things for you. It's going to help dematerialize and release those parts of us that are ready to be done with, and it's going to help materialize and activate those parts within us that are ready to activate, those parts within us that are ready to be given legs, given a body, given a voice, given a set of eyes, given some ambition. And I'm so excited for all of those grids and all of that love and light to get juiced up through me and to me and through you and to you. If you would like a private tarot reading, email me. My information, everything about me is in the show more box below. My website, subscribe. Okay, so first of all, thank you for subscribing here at this YouTube channel. All new subscribers, if you're here for the very first time, I welcome you. I bless you, and I thank you so very much. And if you want more from me, go to my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com. The info is in the description box below, and you can subscribe at my website. You'll receive my monthly love letter where I'll let you know about all my good stuff and little insight and goodies and things that people do not receive when they are not subscribed to my website. You'll also receive my free mini ebook, The Higher Self Blueprint of Mastery, to get your higher self activation going, baby. I'm always just a bundle of laughs up here during these tarot readings. I get very, very giddy. Where are we going with all this? So first of all, you know, if you're for the first time, then you don't know. But if you're regular, then you know that we use the Osho Zen Tarot, and you'll also know that for several weeks we've been guided to pull a Voyager Oracle card as like the overview card for our entire reading. And we've been doing this for several weeks now, and yes, I'm guided that we do it again for this week, July 30th through August 6th of 2018. So why don't we just go ahead and get started? Let's take a nice deep inhale and exhale, closing our eyes. So we're going to call in our angels. We call in our guides, all those light beings who love us, and we welcome you. Did we already have a popper? No. Okay. And we welcome you. We welcome your wisdom, your insight, and we call on your divine counsel, your sweet and clear illumination for us along this path at this time. We bless this Voyager Oracle deck, and we give thanks for all the ways that it has truly served our path in these last weeks. And we welcome even greater divine guidance. So we had some fall on the floor, some fell in a chunk here in my lap. Just one fell on the floor face down. I think we're supposed to look at it. What is it? What is it? Reflection. And look at the moon. Okay, this is the one. Two of Worlds. Wow, there's a lot of ice capades, a lot of moon and lunar energy here. And last week we got the star. So we're going to go ahead and have a look at the little book. That's how I read when I read from James Wellness's Voyager deck. And again, it is the Two of Worlds. So let's go ahead and see what's going on here with reflection. Okay, here we go. Two of Worlds, reflection. The moon, winter, pond, and night represent rest and reflection. In this time of physical relaxation and mental contemplation, clarify and crystallize your feelings and plans, as symbolized by the snow, crystallized water. Don't act until you are sure. Get away from it all to get perspective. Wait and see. The austerity of the moon and the contraction of cold winter represent conservatism. Live simply and frugally by not engaging in financial outlays, worldly expansions, and material acquisitions. So I think this is very important that it says wait and see, right? And also that it is a time of relaxation and mental contemplation. Don't act. Don't act until you are sure. I think that's really profound and powerful. You know, we are currently in a Mercury retrograde, and I know it's going to be with us through August to a certain period. I'm sorry, I don't have my little calendar, so I'm not sure the exact date. Yet, you know what? Some of us were born during a Mercury retrograde, okay, which you can check and you can look on Google. So rest assured, every Mercury retrograde doesn't mean that like the sky is falling and we're all going to die and like everything's going to explode. No. Sometimes it feels like that for sure. But it's not. It's not that. It's just that you want to be careful if you're going to buy a computer, if you're going to, you know, invest in anything very heavy tech level or that is electronically based. Sometimes there can be some funky stuff with that. Or like I have a friend who she's been married for years, but years ago she had ordered all of the gifts for her bridesmaids during a Mercury retrograde, and all of the gifts came in the mail, and they came on time, but they all came broken. It's that kind of a thing with the Mercury retrograde. It's like, ooh, okay, should have or could have maybe waited a few more weeks. So again, this counsel with reflection, wait and see, like the moon, right? Simply reflect, be with what is. And this is the perfect time, this Mercury retrograde, to get our reflective juices flowing, to really get a sense of not needing things to be any different from how they are, and to look at all the nuts you've gathered over this year, right? Look at all the things that you've set into motion. Look at all of everything that you've collected in this year and that you've manifested before you make further investments, before you move forward and announce it to the world, right? During the retrograde, Mercury retrograde is not a time to make big launches. It's that time to still just rest back, keep scanning over what you're about to publish, what you're about to put out there, and make sure that all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. But again, for those born in Mercury retrograde, you're like, everyone else is freaking out, and you're like, yeah, we got this, no big deal at all. Right? Because you were born in this, so it's just like, psh, whatevs. Okay, so I appreciate you appreciating my humor. We're going to get into it with the Osho Zen Tarot deck, calling in our angels and our guides, taking a moment to take a deep breath in and out. We welcome you, our angels, ascended masters, all those light beings who love us, our animal totems, spirit guides. We welcome you, and we ask your blessing over this reading, that you perfectly and divinely orchestrate the calling of the cards, the popping out of the cards, the guidance to those cards that will truly allow us individually and collectively to receive a notion, an insight, or more. Divine awareness, aha, and inspiration along our path of spiritual growth and spiritual sovereignty. We're so very grateful to all of our angels. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. So we just had some fall out. Maturity, stress, and experiencing. That's what I need to get out and do. I've been sitting at the computer for 5 hours today, which really isn't that long for a writer, but still. So we're going to keep going. We're going to pull a few more, or let a few more pop out. Yep, that's it. Okay. Okay, now I'm getting to getting to pull this card, Courage. Ooh, we've had this a couple weeks ago. So now I'm getting to give these a good old-fashioned Vegas style shuffle, although these cards are kind of old and they've lost a little bit of their flair, but they can still wrestle up a bit as needed. I'm going to do one more old school Vegas shuffle, as I call it, and then we're guided to cut them in half. Pull 3 from the top, I'm hearing. 1, 2, 3. Postponement, abundance, and the Fool. Very interesting cards to come together. Okay, and I'm getting to mix this other half, cut it, and pull 3 from the top. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Fighting, the mind, and transformation. Okay, so let's just hold right here. We've got plenty to work with. So, do I say this every week? Very interesting. Okay. So, reflection. And, okay, I'm saying reflection because that was our overview. That is our overview card with the moon. That is very intuitive. That is very... it's very wise in its stillness, the quality of stillness that the moon is seeking to transmit to us at this time is very, very powerful. So I know this came out around midway, but I'm super guided to talk about this right now with postponement. So what are we waiting for, right? Is there's something that we are waiting on that is being postponed, but there's also something that we are seeking to manifest and move forward in. But again, it's postponement, and like reflection said, our card at the very beginning, wait and see. It's not a time to move forward. It's not a time to rush. So with postponement, we are given permission to wait. We're given permission to reflect, to take a moment, to look at everything that has accumulated, everything that has come to pass until this point, and to pause before we move forward, before we move any further, to pause. You know, the power of pause is so important. And I learned this with my most recent book called How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration. I rushed the book. I rushed it to publication and ended up having to take time to pull it off the shelf to do re-edits, only to republish it again, because I was in a rush, because I did not have time to reflect, because I chose not to reflect, because I chose to just have it done and get it out there. But then as soon as it was out there, it was not fully representing my true integral voice, the true integral teachings. And it was really a devastating situation that I experienced, and now I'm on the other side of it, so it's okay. But it was very, very humbling. And I tell you that story as a means to serve you as you may feel in a haste to make things happen, to set dates, to get things going, especially now during this retrograde period, that it's not time to do that. It's time to, like, really put your feet up, relax a bit, take a day off, take some time out, and again, reflect on what you've been doing. And it's okay if you don't do anything. It's not like you're supposed to have an accumulation of goals that you've achieved, but by way of you just living, there will be things that you have accomplished. There will be things, right? Different homes that you lived in, or different places you've traveled, even if it's just out of town for the weekend, or different events in your family or with your dear friends. And it's time to honor that. It's not a time to move forward. You know, and I go straight to our bottom shelf, down to our bottom row where the mind is high. The mind is kind of really getting a little crazy with itself here. It is deciding to stress itself out, to overthink. And look at you. If you go down this road, this is what that's what is ahead of us. And we look at fighting, which is the same. It has the gray diamond at the bottom, the same as the mind, which is just, it's all of the minds. And look at the rust. Look at the knuckles, the white knuckles. Look at this person. They are so exhausted over it, but they are still just in it for the fight. And I call this shadow boxing. They're just fighting with themselves. And this is the cause of our suffering. And I really don't like using that word suffering. But this is the cause of our grief, of our pain, is feeling that things need to be any way or else than they are right now. Because we are in retrograde and because we are reflecting, it is a time, right? As we postpone, surely it is a time to be with the thoughts in the mind, to observe them, to let them crank over, let them show us stuff. But eventually, if the thinking mind really is given rise to take over, then what happens is we become bound by it. Look at all the wrapping around this person's torso and neck. It's like the mummy. We become wrapped up in our own thoughts, and our mind stuff then begins to drive. It begins to drive the show for us, instead of us just allowing, and just allowing our hearts and allowing the divine rhythm and nature to open a way for us. So I'm also getting on the top row this stress card, which is fire. Stress is the impatience. Stress is like we need to poke it, like the monkey with the needle at the edge of that orb or that balloon that the character, which is supposed to represent us, is balancing, even though they've got two other legs out striding and stepping in opposite directions while they're juggling all of these plates and these candles and blowing their own trumpet. They have this monkey on their leash that's just waiting to burst their bubble. And this is what it's about. So this is where we get really good this week with just really being a back seat, not a driver, but a back seat lounger, if you will. Let the, all of the landscape that's going by you, just watch it, observe it. You don't have to add to it. You don't need to judge it. And the message I'm getting really strong here right out the gate is that if we do not take this time, we are given this time to pause, to reflect, to just be still, to sit with what has come this far. And if we don't take this time out to really purposely unplug from who we are, from all those things, and take a look from a different perspective, what's going to happen is that we are not going to recognize how far, in fact, we have come. We're not going to recognize the divinity of blessings that are surrounding us now. And in fact, what I'm getting with the mind and with fighting and with stress is that there can be a tendency to overextend our mind and our awareness into the realms of that which we have not accomplished versus that which we have. And this can lead to this inner fight, the fight with the self, with the ego self that always thinks that we should be way more ahead along in the game than we are. And I feel that this really is seeking a voice for us to know that no matter what your path is, no matter where you are on it, you're right where you need to be. You wouldn't be otherwise. And I know it's like so spiritual, mumbo jumbo almost, right? But it's the truth. And the sooner that you can just get with that truth, the easier everything else is. It is only a part of us that clings to an idea that things should be, that we should be further along. You should be a Tony Award winning artist by now. You should be, you know, earning so much money every year by now. You should be married with 2.5 children and a happy dog by now. You should be, etc., etc., fill in the blank. And it's what's happening is that what is being is clashing with the mind's sense of what should be. And you see, it's very interesting because the mind will have many different notions and things and ways for us to think that we should be. Yet, that part of you that exists when you reflect, when you are still with nature, when you take time out to experience your fire, the red in the diamond symbolizes fire. Now, this is a different way of channeling your fire energy, your power to manifest. You're grounding it here. You're hugging a tree. Your feet are on the earth. You're allowing the colors of your inner robes, which are also present in the postponing card, postponement, on their heart. We see the colors of their heart equally reflected through the gateway of the window. And you always have those colors. Those colors are your truth. And those colors are symbolized as your truth on the other side of the window. Yet, because it's not a time to go through that window just yet. It's a time to gather your energy. It's a time to ground your energy, to gather it like an orb of light within you and all around you, is what this energy is saying. If we get caught in the wild horses, the chariots of thoughts and minds, and thinking that life should be different than it is now, we're going to inflict a lot of stress on ourselves. And I don't know what your circumstance is right now, but these are like big highlights that want to be illumined here at the very beginning. And so let's keep going and we'll see what else comes of it, because what we have ahead of us is this massive transformation that is, I feel, a part of these three eclipses. We had one on July 27th. We had one before that at the new moon in July, which I think was either around the 14th or 15th, around there. And then we're going to have another one on the new moon in August, on August 11th, at our next reading. Again, parts of us, parts of our lives, parts of our relationships, parts of who we thought we are dissolving, are just disappearing. Things in our lives, whether they be addictions, relationships, new job opportunities, old projects you've been working on, everything is going through a phaser where it's going to, I feel like everything is being, during this time of these three eclipses, everything is being run through the scanner of the moon, as if the moon was a scanner of pure white light. And you can run each project or each relationship, each thing under the scanner of the moonlight. And the moon will suss out for you what is true and what is not true. It will highlight to you that which is false, that which truly serves you, and that which is not false, and that which doesn't serve you. Did I just do that inside out and backwards? I think I did. But I think you get it though. You're smart enough. So basically everything that we're getting our knickers in a twist about and possibly becoming very unraveled about, if we allow ourselves to get stressed out about it or these things, are things that aren't even going to matter in the second half of August. Again, time to reflect, time to, with wisdom and maturity, show up as your higher self, do your work spiritually as your higher self, as the master that you are, and contain your energy. So what I'm seeing in this maturity, so I think it's very interesting, because very rarely do we have these two cards come up. Postponement and maturity. Now, funny, they're looking at each other, right? If we look at them in this way, they're looking at each other. One version of you is in the black and the white with the truth in your heart, looking through the frame way, the window way of this yellow square onto more color, more colorful landscape. The mature version of you is all color all the time, yet they've learned how to ground, how to work their energy, how to trust their heart, trust their truth, trust their energy to the degree, sorry, it's very wobbly, to the degree that they have learned how to contain and ground their energy. What is especially contained here is their mind, is their third eye, is their word, their throat, and their third eye are especially contained here. So that tells us that we get to be especially mindful as we speak and think things into existence. And this is what struck me. I was up at the Vortex with the staff last week, and I was just laying on the big rock. And every time I lay on that big rock, the universe starts to remind me of just how valuable and how potent our words and our thoughts are. So what words and thoughts can you kick around during this postponement in honor of reflecting upon what is and what has been? And where can you keep silent about it within yourself, enough to the point that you don't disturb yourself? Especially if you've gone through a really rough patch and now you're kind of being spat out, but you haven't got the full direction or the full download just yet. Be gentle on yourself and know that this too shall pass. This is a transition period that you're in. We are en route to some massive transformation of mind, of body, of spirit. And what is called for is when it is time to speak, especially over this next week, between this July 27th eclipse and this August 11th eclipse. It's like gateways have been opened and closed, and now we're in between this next gateway that's going to open and close on August 11th. Your environment is alive and responds and reacts to your perception of it. So again, the big rock was just telling me and reminding me, like, everything that you speak, especially at this eclipse time, has that much more energy, has that much more power and capacity to really manifest outside of the normal boundaries of time, because we're aware that when we affirm something, we manifest. Now granted, sometimes I know I have friends who are like those parking lot queens, where they just like manifest a parking space, chokurei, you know, and they're like in it like Flynn. And there's other people who are like, I'm going to manifest $100 today, and they do it, you know. And there's different ways to manifest, yet with the larger brush paint stroke of those things that you seek to manifest and create in your world, because we are in between worlds, the veils are lifted between these eclipse times, and Space and time is not what it usually is. There's less space and time. And so when you usually want to manifest your new car, it might take a minute. You might make a vision board, you might write out affirmations, you might say them on your mirror, you might go and drive a few cars, you might have to spend 5 years cleaning up your credit and building up credit again and saving money. I have a friend who did that. He spent like 5 or 6 years totally recalibrating his life and his self so that he could buy a car, like on the level, with good credit, get a good job, find a woman, get married. And that's exactly what he's done, actually. Now I think back, because this was some time ago. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because it's a time to be clear. It's not a time to waste energy, to expend energy in areas that doesn't have your whole heart involved. Where those areas that don't have your whole heart involved, stay detached. Stay true to your heart and imagine what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, what it's going to taste like before you jump through that window and before you give it the word of your tongue and space in your mind to become something. Right below the maturity card, we do have the Fool, which speaks to 0, which is the 0 point of you. Like, it's you being the Fool, but in the best way, because the Fool is like, just goes along with life and doesn't need anything. I mean, of course, to eat and to sleep and to, do human things. But the Fool knows and trusts they are infinitely provided for and taken care of. And that's where you're guided this week. That's where we're all guided this week, is to come back to that place, so that if you're going to speak and affirm anything, let it be that broad paintbrush stroke where it's like, you know what? I just trust time now. I trust my heart now. I'm going to listen. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to trust that it's okay to do that. And this is how we get to simply be present for the next step to show up. Because look, this shows us just taking a leap of faith. It's like literally walking off the hillside. And it looks like we're going to take a deep leap and a fall off the other edge. Yet, it is a time to, with our feelings and emotions, know that which is true to us through our practices of being within, so that we can rest in this divine abundance. And I love that this is how, like, the ending of the reading thus far is really coming into this new level of abundance and this new level of courage that leads to our transformation. So we have, this is a major arcana, the Fool card. This is a major arcana, our transformation card, and this is a major arcana, our courage card. What it feels like is that this next change that's coming up is so great, is so grand, it's royal. I'm getting that it's royal, to the level that as we allow that, and we say it all the time, and we're just going to say it again because it needs to be said, as we allow that which is ready to leave our lives under grace, when we say thank you and we let it go, like we consciously let it go. And then we see that which we wish to manifest, that we wish to welcome into our lives, and we say, welcome, yes please, and thank you. Then it comes into our lives. You see, and this is the key, and it sounds very, very simple, but how often do you say no when you mean yes, and do you say yes when you mean no? And that's what I'm getting our meditations with nature, and our reflecting, going within and practicing stillness, connecting with that lunar energy, practicing being receptive to her with that divine feminine, graceful knowing. This is what she's helping us do with all of these eclipses. Look, OMG, look at, she's wearing the astronaut bubble helmet. Sorry, not sorry. Wow, okay, so if you watch 4D Trinity, my weekly live stream, it was either this week or last week that I talked about this metaphysical energy tool called the astronaut bubble helmet. It's a clear helmet that you imagine you put on energetically, and only love and light can enter, and only love and light can go through the wall. So it's just a clear astronaut bubble, and you just imagine putting it on, and it's for protection, if you will, but you don't have to use it for protection. You can simply place it on energetically so that only that which is in resonance with love and light is allowed to filter in to your mind, to your thoughts, but also only those thoughts that you have from within you are allowed to filter out through this. So this is what I'm seeing. It's time to put that helmet on. Okay, and this is being contained. This is only letting out. This is the mature you, the master you, the wise you. You know, taking the high road and only letting those words out of your mouth and off your tongue. You know, it's one thing when you're joking around with your friends, but if you're really saying something, and it's another thing if you're joking around and you're always joking, because be careful what you joke about, because you're going to create that. But this is saying, like, it's time to grow up. It is time to master up. Put your astronaut bubble helmet of light on, because it is time. Oh, that's the whole reading. Goodbye. We're done. That's it. As you know, sometimes I'm sitting here and I'm just talking and I'm going, I have no idea where this reading is going. But this is it. It's time to stop saying yes when you mean no, and it's time to start saying no when you mean yes. That's it. It's like, that's it. We can all go home. That's the pathway to abundance. That simple tool, which is really just an awareness tool, and a mindfulness level of awareness that comes naturally as we start to become spiritualized and master our life. And you know, when you're in these conversations with people and they want answers right away, be your mature self with your astronaut bubble helmet on. And if someone wants an answer right now, especially during Mercury retrograde, you know, you can be like, honey, it's Mercury retrograde, but you probably don't want to do that. You can pause, and you can also say, can I get back to you about that? Let me get back to you about that. And it's okay. Often we feel like we need to be rushed by other people's impatience. I know as a yoga teacher, sometimes once in a blue moon, I get students in who are like, okay, when are we going to do yoga? Can we do yoga now? And you're like going, whoa, inhale, exhale. Yes, we are going to start doing yoga right now. And what is my point in even sharing that? It's like sometimes we just get so impatient. Maturity is like, honey, I have been this seed in the ground for a millennia. I have just started casting roots and growing up. If you don't think I can wait another little minute until these planets realign themselves for the highest good of all, for me to get my jiggy on, well, you got another thing coming. I pray that makes sense. Can you read between the lines, please? That's all we need to do. This is the bane of our mental confusion. This is the bane of our, like, I don't know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, what do I do, what do I do, oh my God. And then I'm like fighting internally with myself, ego busting myself, shadow boxing, getting my knickers in a twist, all stressed out and like, frustrated. Oh my God, we're getting hives, we're getting itchy. I can't express myself, I can't express myself. But yes, you can. Just tell the truth. Tell the truth and you will be set free. Look at you. With courage, jump. With courage, jump, and the net will appear. This is us. We are just, this is what happens when you move from the truth in your heart. The momentum of life carries you. The winds on which you sail move in your favor and guide your sails beautifully. We are preparing for this massive transformation, and you know what? This is a wake-up call. This transformation is all about us waking up. It's the seed within you that has stirred, that has put its roots down, and that is starting to reach for the light. It is the part of you that knows what is true to you and what is not true to you, that knows when to say yes, thank you, and no, thank you. That's the theme. That's you being the master. That's you living a mature, wise life. And again, if you need time and you don't know whether to say no, thank you, or yes, thank you, you can pause. You can think about it for a moment, and you can even say, let me get back to you about that. Don't be in a rush by anyone else's stuff. You know you on the inside, and if you feel like you don't know you right now, meditate more. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Can you see that reflection? It's reflecting a bit of a glare there, I know, but look at all this ice, frozen water. And remember, we did a 4D Trinity on water. I'll put a link in here. Bless your water. Pray over your water. And it's almost like you don't need to figure, what I feel is this like collective pressure to figure things out, like you need to know. But galactically speaking, cosmically speaking, it feels that like once these eclipses have really come and gone, you know, the work that we do right now, and even reflecting and resting is working. Let me have you know, when you reflect and you look over your harvest, you look over your life, that is work, spiritual work. When you're crying, when you're journaling, writing your energy letters, that's work too, right? But there's this sense of like, the work for us right now is that day-to-day, moment-to-moment, scrambled or over easy, black or with cream and sugar. You know, it's like, it's that basic level of being honest to yourself, of showing up in your truth. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take it with cheese, even though I don't want cheese and it irritates my stomach. Then send it back, and you can send it back with love. Say, you know, you can be kind, you can be graceful, you can, you know, why do we, this is it. I feel like that we just take on stuff, or at least this is the theme for this week, is becoming aware of those areas where we just take other people's stuff on, literally stuff. Can I give you this junk? Sure, I'll take it. No, you don't need to do that. You can say no, thank you. And by simply managing your yes and no's, ooh, that's it. Managing your yes and no's with maturity, consciously, that's how you start to just naturally file into your life purpose, file into living the life that you love to live, when you're honest, when you're true to yourself. And that's it. Drop the mic. We can all go home. Isn't that beautiful? So take this week to reflect, to be gentle on yourself, to be kind to yourself, to look at the moon. Meditate. Meditate, meditate, meditate. That's your way home. That's how you stay in tune with your high priestess, with the high priest within you, whatever name you give it, with God, Source, Love, the Buddha. Stay spiritually and emotionally grounded this week so that you have the containment of the throat and the third eye. That containment of the throat and the third eye, the words you speak and the visions, how you see, how you perceive your environment, will truly reflect the truth of you in your heart. Place your bubble of light, astronaut helmet on, by simply having the thought, by simply thinking it for the highest good of all, always. And just let in love, and just let out love. It's that easy this week. Be true to yourself. Say yes when you mean yes, and say no thank you when you mean no. That's it. That's our work this week. I'm so very grateful to spend this time with you. If you would like a private reading, send me an email down below. I am doing a special $30 for 30 minutes, which is a serious special. If you want to find out how you can hook up to avail of that, send me an email. Check out my books. My links are down below. If you're on Instagram, follow me there. I put up about 3 one-minute little mini highlights from our weekly energy readings here, our tarot. So again, thank you all the new subscribers, everyone for hanging out. If you're not subscribed and you appreciate this, hit the red subscribe button and hit the bell so you know when I'm going to be doing any little live streams or anything like that as well. Thank you so much. I bless you. Namaste.